Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is another hump day. It is another day that we have made it almost through the week. And it is again freezing cold here in Indiana. We had like 2 or 3 days of 50-degree weather, and it was so beautiful. I actually went outside without a coat for the first time. It was so warm. 50 degrees for us here in Indiana is like that's like a heat wave, especially in February. But I was looking at the calendar. First off, it is 9 days until we go on Wonder of the Seas, and we are ecstatic. Jared and I are doing so much to prep and get ready. Things are so busy for us, but we could not be more excited. There's going to be so many people on board, so many JJ crew on board, so many content creators on board. We're just like, we're over the moon excited for Wonder of the Seas, and I hope that you all are ready for content because after March 4th, it's going to be like a snowball of content between everybody that's going to be going on the ship. Also, I know that we've had some mic issues as of late. I apologize for that. I think we have potentially fixed the problem. I hope that we have. I have a couple of people that help me with the show, and so those producers are sitting listening, and hopefully no mic problems here on out. But Wonder of the Seas, March 4th. This is our last wake for February, which also blows my mind that this is it. After this week, February is gone and we are officially here in spring. I'm not really, I guess unofficially. I feel like March for me is the start of spring. And we're really happy to see winter go, especially in Indiana. It's just like the winter weather is just miserable. But thank you again to everyone that's joined us today. I appreciate it. I want to just jump in and talk about our hot topics. So I got to talk briefly about yesterday's video that we released because it was kind of a fun video for me to make. And it was a funny video. I mean, when I was laying in bed falling asleep on Monday night, and that article came up, the CNN article. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch that video after today's show. But the article came up, that CNN was just putting out the facts about Wonder of the Sea. Again, just the facts. This was not a biased article at all. It did not have any political leanings. It had no like opinion. It was not an opinion piece. It was just straight up the facts. And the comment section they went wild. I only read a few of the comments that kind of stuck out to me, but there was so many comments from people saying that they hoped the ship would sink. That's just a dark thing to say. I mean, a ship that can hold like 7,000 passengers. Yikes. You must be in a really dark spot if that is how you feel and that's like what you're wishing on other people's vacation. It was really too bad, but it didn't surprise me because for those of you that don't know, I'm also on TikTok. I have a little bit of a following there on TikTok, and anytime I post anything, and let me preface this, I did not go viral on TikTok or gain a following based on anything cruise related. So my TikTok originally had no cruise stuff on it. I started it during the shutdown. I was just doing silly, fun stuff on there, and then some weird stuff happened to us in Indiana, and I put that on there. But that's another story for another day. But anytime now that I'm like doing a lot of cruise content for YouTube, I put any cruise content on TikTok, I get like attacked. People come after me, and they're like, "How dare you? Why would you ever support an industry like that? That's ruining our world." It's a scary place out there. So for cruise lovers, stay safe. And the best way to avoid cruise haters is to go on a cruise because they won't be there. That's my advice. That's my free advice for you today. Another hot topic that I want to talk about is the global dream. I did not know much about this cruise ship. Of course, this cruise ship belongs to the Genting's holding group that just went under. And this is their brand new cruise ship. They were building it and billing it as the largest cruise ship in the world, although it was not. The Oasis class ships for Royal Caribbean still do take that cake. Those are still the largest cruise ships in the world. Wonder of the Seas is the largest. But this was going to be one of the largest, I think, for the Asia market. maybe it was supposed to be built before Wonder of the Seas, or I don't know what the situation was, but this isn't the point. The global dream is 204,000 gross tons. Now, to give you just some perspective, the Oasis class ships are about 230,000 gross tons, right? So you've got about 30,000 tons, give or take one or two, larger or smaller, excuse me, than the Oasis class ship. But this ship was supposed to hold 9,500 passengers. So it's currently over being finished. But the Gentings Holding Group has gone under. So this ship is sitting there in the dockyard. They have paused building the ship and it's now for sale. It's for sale for over $1 billion. So if you have some extra change laying around and you'd like to start a cruise line, this cruise ship is sitting over there. But I cannot get over the fact that it was supposed to hold 9,500 passengers. That is so many people for that size of a ship. The Oasis class ships hold under 7,000. So here's a ship that's 30,000 gross tons under the Oasis class ship, but it's supposed to hold 9,500 passengers. Mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. So again, if you have over $1 billion to spend and you'd like to start a cruise line, maybe the global dream can become your dream. I can't get over that. I just want to know how that is going to work because I know already people feel overwhelmed when ships get really crowded and packed. And that ratio of gross tonnage to passengers on board is so out of sync from what we see from all other cruise lines. So I've never sailed on a ship in the Asia market. That's not something that we have ever done, something we would love to do. But I don't know, maybe they have their ship layouts a little bit different, or maybe they do things a little bit different to where they maximize their space a lot more effectively than we do here in the United States. Not sure, but interested to see who will buy that ship. There is supposedly 3 major cruise lines all in talks to purchase the ship. Now, whenever I hear something like that, I automatically think Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian Cruise Line. But you never know. There's a lot of other cruise lines out there as well that, could look at purchasing this. It will be interesting because it's almost finished being built. So if one of the cruise lines does buy this ship, they're going to wrap it up and roll it out rather quickly. And we could see, a brand new ship being announced to one of the fleets very soon. But I'm going to be honest, if this is true, if that is the size of the ship and it holds that many passengers, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous, especially if it sails here in the United States, just because that sounds intense. Okay, let's move on to Hey Captain, what's happening? We're going to talk about the cruise news headlines of the week and what's happening in the cruise world. One of my favorite stories that came out this week was the announcement of the Golden Girls cruise out of Miami next April. If you are a Golden Girls fan, you can join all of your friends on the Celebrity Summit on April 8th, 2023. I just want to see like a snapshot of the pool deck, like while it's sailing away and they're just blasting the Golden Girls theme song and everybody's singing at the top of their lungs. I have this mental image in my head that is just really fun. I probably won't personally be going on this. Of course, I love Betty White just as much as everybody else. But Golden Girls is not necessarily my favorite. And would I take a theme cruise for it? Probably not. But I know a lot of people love it. And of course, it's an endearing show. Okay, I also want to move on to what's going on with Mardi Gras. So, if you've been following cruise news, a couple of creators released this story earlier this week. We have not talked about it on the channel yet, but it's just rumors. And I try to not make cruise news videos when it comes to just rumored things. But on the talk show, of course, we love the hot gossip that's going on in the cruise industry. So the Mardi Gras is supposedly having engine problems, possibly. We don't know. Carnival hasn't come out and said anything about this, but one big indicator of this is that they have removed San Juan off of all of their itineraries coming up here in the upcoming weeks and months. Now that's very strange because we've not heard any change in protocols or tightening of restrictions in San Juan. We know that they are one of the cruise ports that did have tighter restrictions, but cruises have still been going there. We were just there in December. we're supposed to be going there on a cruise here very soon. So it's a little strange that they removed San Juan off of all the itineraries of the Mardi Gras, um, and they replaced it with Nassau, Bahamas. So people are speculating, again, this is pure speculation, that potentially the Mardi Gras is having engine problems and can't pick up a high enough speed to get from Florida all the way down to Puerto Rico. And so they've had to kind of rearrange things and change things. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have not sat and looked at all of the itineraries for Mardi Gras to look and see if this is true. This is, again, speculation, and this is just rumors. Carnival has said nothing about this. I would not be concerned if you are going on a Mardi Gras cruise anytime soon, but you do need to know that if you were slated to go on the Mardi Gras to Puerto Rico soon, that is potentially not going to be the case for whatever reason. And we should probably find out more, I would think, in the next upcoming week in terms of why they made that choice and what exactly is going on. But for now, it remains a mystery, and we don't know. In more cruise news this week, potentially some good news for those Crystal cruisers who had a Crystal cruise get canceled and potentially their money completely taken. There is, again, speculation and talk that the former owner of Silver Seas has put in 2 bids to purchase Crystal Cruise Lines, and along with the purchase of the ships comes the purchase of the debt of $100 million that is currently owed in outstanding debts to passengers and people that just have not received refunds yet. Obviously, Crystal Cruise Lines has been talked about a lot. We've talked about it quite a bit on this show. I know people are probably really tired of hearing about it. But I think that this is an interesting turn, because could this mean that Crystal Cruise Lines could see a return, just under new ownership? Would the name, brand, and everything remain the same? Then it would just have this new owner. Also, the former owner of Silver Seas. So this is someone that obviously knows the luxury travel sector and has worked in luxury travel, has owned a major luxury travel cruise line. We'll have to see. Supposedly, again, he put a bid back in 2021, and they denied that ever happened. This was a year ago. I was reading a news article, and then a new news article came out this week saying that might have been true, that there was talks of him purchasing it before they went under. And now that they have officially gone under, we might see that purchase and transaction actually go through. So we'll have to watch and see what happens. But Crystal Cruise Lines, maybe we'll see a resurrection here of that cruise line, and it'll be back in business before you know it. But of course, under new ownership, and when a new owner steps in, there's always things that are bound to change, and people, get really upset because it's not what they're used to. So we'll have to see. Also, some good news for Canada, our friends up in Canada. Port Charlottetown, which is up on the east coast of Canada, sometimes you'll see pop up in those New England itineraries, is getting ready to welcome back its first ship. It's obviously been a long time since any ships have visited Canada. Canada has said that they are going to have a cruising season, so we have to choose to believe that for now. And on April 22nd, they are going to welcome back a Viking cruise ship to come to port, and it will be one of the first ships to stop in Canada after 2 years. Technically, after more than 2 years, because if you remember, when the pandemic started in March of 2020, April typically kicks off Canada's cruise season, unless that they've got some winter cruises or winter ships that go up there. Most of the major cruise lines stay out of there for the winter months. So this is really, really exciting. I am so happy for our friends up in Canada. We have a lot of friends in Canada and a lot of JJ crew up in Canada. And we just are so thrilled that your cruising season is coming back. This is like one of the missing pieces, and it's a big missing piece here in North America, because there's a lot of cruises that go up on both sides of Canada, right? There's the cruises that do the New England cruises up on the east side, and then the Alaskan cruises on the west side. So this is super exciting for Canada. Again, another big missing piece and a huge deal for the restart of the cruise industry. Now, on the flip side of this, some negative news coming out of New Zealand. This is another big piece. I would say New Zealand and Australia are kind of the big final missing pieces here for the cruise restart. After discussions with the New Zealand government, P&O has decided to completely cancel their season out of Auckland, New Zealand. So their season was supposed to run from July 5th to November 21st. And they were really excited again to restart a ship there and help New Zealand restart its cruise efforts. It unfortunately is now completely canceled. So anyone that was scheduled on a P&O cruise between July and November of 2022, unfortunately, that will not be happening. My heart goes out to our friends over in New Zealand and Australia. Now, this was specifically news that had to deal with the New Zealand and Auckland port. This did not have anything to do necessarily with Australia. We've heard some positive news come out of Australia. Carnival stated that they're going to be restarting up operations in Australia in October. So who knows? October is still a long ways away, and October is towards the end of what this season in New Zealand was supposed to be. Again, it was just supposed to run through November. But again, if you were on one of those P&O sailings, I am very sorry that your ship is sailed away to another place. And I don't say that lightly. I truly mean that, because it is a big bummer, and I'm sure it's a big bummer with people in New Zealand. I don't have a lot of connections over there to direct like port workers or people that work in stores and restaurants at any of the ports. But I can imagine there's always in every area there is always some small port towns that really rely on the cruise industry. I know that was the case for a lot of the small ports over on the east side of Canada. There's a lot of Caribbean islands that are really small ports, and I know that this is not easy news, and it's probably really tough for all of them. So things are always changing. Who knows? Maybe 2022 is not over yet. Just because this one cruise line has pulled out of New Zealand for 2022, that doesn't mean that all the rest will. It just does not give us a lot of hope that final missing chunk of the cruise restart is going to happen here in 2022. Who would have thought that when this was all going down in March of 2020, we'd be sitting here in 2022 talking about another country with a canceled season of cruising? It is really heartbreaking. And it makes me really sad. And it makes me sad for people that, want to travel. I know that people have places on their bucket list that they want to go to while they're here on this earth. And it is sad to think that places are closed and people just can't do that. Some people just can't fulfill that list. And that is that's a heartbreaking thing. Okay, let's move on from something a little bit more lighthearted. This week, I have something really fun to share with all of you. Excuse me while I'm just taking a couple sips of coffee. I'm still waking up here today. But I found this list on the internet, and I had to put it on the show because I thought that this was really good. Express.co.uk put out an article where they spoke to a crew member on a luxury cruise line about the strangest requests that have ever been made by guests. And this list was too good not to share. So this week, I know that I normally share like a list of tips. We are going to have a money-saving tip here in just a few minutes. But in terms of sharing a list, this week we're talking about the weirdest things that crews have ever heard crew have ever heard guests request. Kicking it off with number one, we have beard oil. Now, I didn't actually think that this was that strange of a request because I know that like oils for beards and like essential oils for your facial hair, I know that that's more of a thing now than it has been in the past. So I don't think that's weird. As the list goes on, it gets stranger. Request number two is eggnog in August. Again, I don't think that's too strange. Request number three, now this is my kind of person, an extra cabin to use as a changing room. If I had the audacity, I would. Number four is the permission to drive the ship. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry to whoever requested that, but it's not going to happen. Number five, a mug with their name on it. Jordan. Number six, a Japanese Zen garden in their room. Okay, that's extra. That's really extra. Number seven, a frame so that they could put up a picture of their pet. Now, listen, I guess I could kind of understand this one if it was like a really long cruise. Like if you were on a world cruise for 120 nights, I get it. But maybe bring your own frame because I don't think the cruise line's responsible for bringing you a frame. Number eight is a crew reenactment of the Blackwater Bay fight scene from Game of Thrones. Now, don't get mad at me for this. I'm not a Game of Thrones person, and that's only because I've never really seen it. So I don't really know what this is, but hopefully someone out there really appreciates that somebody asked for that. And last but not least, number nine is a hairstylist. Now, to the person that requested a hairstylist, you can definitely get that on the ship, but it's not going to be your private stylist, and you are going to have to pay money for it. So anyways, leave that to be what it is. It is time now for the crew of the week. And the crew of the week comes from JJ Crew, Angela. Angela, if you are out there watching, thank you so much for sharing this. Angela shares, my crew of the week is Miss Alvira from Serenade of the Seas. She was the first friendly face to greet me and my husband in the Windjammer. She was our server for the entire cruise, and she now is a good family friend. We asked to have a special menu for dinner, which was curry chicken, red beans and rice, and fried plantains, and she made it happen. She even advised us on getting a mattress topper so we could get a good night's sleep for the rest of our Alaskan cruise. That is, first off, that sounds like an amazing person. Miss Alvira, thank you so much for making Angela and Angela's family's vacation memorable and magical. That is amazing that you were able to ask for a specific meal and she made it happen. And I love this tip in here. And this is a great tip. She said that they asked that Miss Alvira advised them to ask for a mattress topper because the bed was too firm. Let's just call that the tip of the week. And thank you very much, Angela, for sharing this. If you're ever on a cruise ship and you feel like the bed is too firm, or you're on the couch and that's too firm, please say something to your room steward because they are more than happy to accommodate. And let me just say this, your room steward would rather you ask them to bring you a mattress topper or some type of foam than not ask, be upset about it, and write it on your post-cruise survey. You have to understand that these people, the post-cruise surveys really do impact them. And so they would rather you ask for what you need. And a mattress topper is an easy thing, and most cruise lines have them on board and available for you to make your night's sleep a little bit better. So anyways, that was a little bit of a tip of the week as well as the crew of the week. And thank you, Angela, again for sharing that. Before I go on, I want to just say something that I see in the comments of the show every single week. I apologize. I'm not going to try to rant here, but I do just want to say it has been over 10 years since I have sailed on Princess. And while we are planning to go on Princess again very soon, I had no idea that their daily program was called The Wake. Okay, I did not know. We get comments every single week saying like, wow, you really ripped off Princess, or like, geez, JJ Cruz, you couldn't have come up with anything more original that someone else wasn't doing. I apologize. I'm making a public apology. But look, I didn't know. A lot of nautical terms out there are used and recycled. If you're watching this, don't get confused. I am not on a princess ship and I am not your cruise director. Okay. So just don't get, just know I'm Jordan. This is JJ Cruz and I'm sitting in my living room right now. I just want to make sure because people get upset every single week. It's like people like search for the wake and they're hoping to see their favorite cruise director from a princess ship. And then my face pops up and they're immediately disappointed. So I'm sorry if that's you sitting at home this week. I'm sorry. Don't be upset. Just subscribe to the channel. I just had to share that because it never fails. Every single week we get a comment about this. And I always am like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go again. I didn't know and I apologize. Okay, jumping into our roll call segment of the week. This is a segment where I talk about and share something that was shared to a roll call group. Again, I'm going to just recap this if you're new to the show. A roll call is a Facebook group or a cruise critic group where you can go and join when you're going on a sailing, and every person in the that's going to be on the ship that's on Facebook that also is in that group, you can mingle and meet before the cruise ever happens. So here's the roll call of the week. This one came from a Facebook group, and this is really a lot. But it's short, but it's a lot. I overheard the funniest thing this week on the ship. Someone asked a crew member if the captain and crew slept on board. Okay, maybe this isn't as silly as it sounds. Please let me know in the comments what you think. I thought that was pretty funny. And if you're the person that asked this question, yes, they do sleep on board. The crew has their own sleeping quarters. The captain, of course, has their own cabin. Um, so yes, they do sleep on board, and that was overheard on a ship and posted in a roll call group. Okay, this week for my money saving tip, I am talking all about financial apps. So if you have a smartphone, this might be for you. I wanted to specifically talk about the Capital app, and that's Capital with a Q. It's Qapital. These are apps that help you save money and build a savings over time. And yes, of course, you can build a savings for a lot more than just a cruise. But if you are getting ready to go on a cruise ship and you want to either be making monthly payments or you want to be able to save, let's say, for a year before you actually start the process of booking your cruise, you could download an app like this to start helping you save money. We've actually done this. We have actually, this is not a sponsored spot, by the way. Capital has no idea that I'm talking about this. It's just a friendly tool and app on your phone that can help you move money from one place to another so that you are saving it, locking it in, and that money is just for your vacation. We've done this in the past for vacations, for when we purchased our house. It's always helpful when you can put a little bit of money back each week. Every time you get a paycheck, maybe it's only $25. So that $25 over time will build. And before you know it, you will have your entire cruise funded by your savings app. So check out Capital. There's other apps out there. Feel free to drop in the comments any other apps that you have used on your phone or any other specialty banking programs. Obviously, you can do this at most banks as well. You know, with Chase, if you bank with Chase, you can decide, that 75% of your money is going to go into this account, 25% of your money is going to go into another account. You can do that with most banks, way more than just Chase. But always think about putting a little bit of money back for your vacation, because if you're able to do that, it's going to make the financial pain a little bit less when you actually go to book your cruise and pay for that final payment. All right, moving on to our ship that's cheap. I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about it because it's one of my favorite itineraries ever. Ship, that's cheap. This week we are talking about Holland America. Holland America is obviously a cruise line that is owned by the Carnival Cruise Corporation. So it's in the Carnival family in terms of, or with, I should say, alongside of Princess Cruises and Carnival Cruise Lines, along with many, many others. But this week we are talking about the Holland America New Staten Dam, December 10th, 2022 till December 17th, 2022. So this is this coming December. You got some time here. 7 nights out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It is a Southern Caribbean itinerary going to Half Moon Cay, which is Carnival's private island, Aruba, and Curacao. Heading down to Aruba and Curacao, if you've never done it, I highly, highly encourage you. It is one of the most beautiful, there's some of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean period, but that Southern Caribbean, itinerary is just amazing. So this is for two in an ocean view room, $1,578. That is a really good deal. Now, that does not include their extras program. Holland, like most cruise lines now, is having like two different prices. One is just a base price, and then one is a price that includes things like drinks and dining and potentially a shore excursion, Wi-Fi, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just the base price. But for a base price on a Holland American cruise ship for two down to South America, I'm going to tell you this right now. A few years ago, you wouldn't have seen a price like this. It is incredibly affordable. In Holland America, it totes the line with luxury travel. I mean, it's definitely more like celebrity, even maybe more a little bit luxurious. It's also kind of old school cruising. So if you've not been on Holland America yet, and I haven't either, this is just what other people tell me. It's a lot more like older, like luxury cruise ships, lots of wood, um, very fancy. So if this is something that you've been interested in trying lately, I would highly recommend that you try it. And of course, if you ever want help booking, you can always book through us. My email is jordan@lovelandnc.com. You can find it below in the description. I can help you book that cruise along with many others. But again, if you've never sailed to Southern Caribbean, could not recommend it more. It is one of our absolute favorite itineraries, and it's been way too long since we've been down there. We got to go back. All right, let's get into some of the questions of the week. I know that there's some people out there that are watching. Thank you again for those that have watched the program today. We have a question coming in here from Trish. Any chance P&O will ever bring their ships to the US? You know, P&O is mostly a European cruise line. They do a lot of their cruises over on that side of the world. I would never say never. Florida is the cruise capital of the world, and we've seen a lot of other cruise lines. Let's look at MSC, for example, that have dumped a lot of resources into bringing ships over here and doing sailings out of Florida. MSC has been primarily a European cruise line as well, and while yes, they've been in the United States market for a while, this last year during the restart, they decided that they were going to dump a whole lot more money in bringing cruise ships over here because they knew that the cruise market was here in the United States. Of course, the cruise market is everywhere, but Florida is the capital. It's been known as the cruise capital of the world for a long time. So it would not surprise me if eventually we see P&O Cruises come on over here. Um, but who knows? Always reach out to your travel agent to see if they have any updates because travel agents will hear things before the general public. But that was a great question. We have another question here from Rhonda. Rhonda says, I am excited to cruise in September. I was just concerned about COVID testing in pre cruise and post cruise. Any thoughts? So I don't think that we will see any of the testing regulations go away before September. So I think cruising in September, it's safe to just know now that you are probably going to have to get a test before you cruise. Rhonda, depending on where you are, you may have to get a test before you get off the ship, but maybe not. If you're a United States citizen here, there's a good chance you won't have to test after the cruise. Um, listen, the testing thing, I'm going to be totally honest. It is definitely inconvenient. It is inconvenient. It adds stress to your vacation when already you don't want to have any stressful parts of your vacation. And it's not fun. It's not fun to have to schedule this test out and go and get it. But what I can say is I promise you that it is worth it because once you get the test done, you got that negative result in hand. You are all green lights, getting on the cruise ship, ready to enjoy your cruise. So don't let it discourage you from cruising. I think you should plan on having to probably get a test in September, but get it and forget it. That's what I keep telling people. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. Jared and I have now done, I don't even know how many COVID tests, probably over like 50 at this point. We've taken so many. It's so funny. Oh, and I'm so sorry. This was specifically for a Mediterranean cruise. I'm just seeing here. So that's a different story. For the Med, they're going to have different protocols than from the US. So you will probably have to get a test coming off the ship. I'm really sorry about that. I did not see that portion of your question. Yeah, so I mean, I would work with either your travel agent or the cruise line. If you're working with the travel agent, they're definitely going to be able to help you figure out your testing if you need assistance with that. Or the cruise line will be able to help you as well. There's a good chance, since you are international, that you will be able to get tested on the ship before you get off. But I would definitely encourage you to either call your travel agent or the cruise line to verify that before you go. Lucy's mom asks, if there was a cruise film made, what roles would you like to play? Well, the captain, of course. I'm just kidding. Honestly, if there was a cruise film made, I'd probably want to play the role of the cruise director. After I took my very first cruise, which was in high school, I I told my mom and dad, I was like, it is my dream someday to be a cruise director. I would absolutely love that job. So in a film, I would love to fulfill the role of the cruise director. Desiree Hall just sent in a heart super sticker for $2. Thank you so much, Desiree Hall. We really appreciate that. Of course, that all goes back into the channel and allows us to do things like this. So we really appreciate that, Desiree. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being a supporter of the channel. Um, Desiree asks, will there be any mask wearing? Um, I'm not sure if you're asking about if we will be wearing masks on our upcoming cruises. It's going to depend on the protocols. Obviously, a lot of the cruise lines have dropped their mask mandates. We always carry masks on us, regardless of the mandates. So even if the mandate has dropped, I'll still have a mask in my pocket. And if at any point in time I feel like I need to put it on a ship that specifically requires me not to have it on, I absolutely will. Just because getting COVID isn't worth it. It's nasty. It's awful. The first time that I had it, I talked about it on here on the show a couple of weeks ago. It's miserable, and I don't want to get it again. So, um, yes, if we feel uncomfortable and if we're in crowded spaces and feel the need to wear a mask, we absolutely will. We have another question here from Chris Wilson asking, any thoughts on Odyssey going on her March 6th? Oh my gosh, Chris. We love Odyssey. If you've seen any of our content, we just came off of Odyssey of the Seas raving about it. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the things. Definitely go back and watch our review because we shared a review video, full review of our thoughts. The entertainment is almost unmatched. The entertainment is incredible. It is so good. Um, I cannot say enough good about the entertainment. There was lots to do on the ship. It is our favorite pool deck, I think, across any cruise line. We loved the pool deck. There's seating inside the pool that wraps around the main pool on the deck. Brilliant. And they didn't care if you had a beverage in hand. So we absolutely loved that about Odyssey. I think some of our gripes were that the main dining room food was not our favorite, but we didn't eat there very much. I will say that. We're going back on April 3rd, so we'll be on just after you, Chris, on our very first inaugural group cruise. And we're so excited. There should be a lot of changes made, especially since the ship has been running now for several months. We did go back in the fall when it was still a little bit new. Um, and they'd only been going for a couple of months. So I expect things will constantly get better. The food will get better on the ship. People will learn, a lot more in terms of service, but the service was great too. It was honestly one of the best cruises we've taken. And the junior suite room that we stayed in was amazing. Check out our ship tour and our room tour of our junior suite. It was amazing. Trish Thiel, oh my goodness, sending a $5 super chat. Paired cheersing with the coffee mug. Trish, cheers to you. Thank you so much for that. And I will definitely take a little drink of the coffee now. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So that is everything for today. I know that we went through kind of a lot of information for today, but I cannot believe that this is the last wake of February. Next week is going to be March. And when we have the wake next week, we are going to be a mere days and hours away from boarding Wonder of the Seas. And we absolutely cannot wait. Um, like always, I invite you guys to subscribe if you're unsubscribed to the channel. I'm just going to put this out there just for everybody to watching. We have definitely had this goal of trying to hit 20,000 subscribers now here for a while. We crossed another milestone this week and we hit 19,000. We would love to hit 20,000 subscribers and have that celebration on Wonder of the Seas. I cannot think of a better place and time to have our 20K celebration than on Wonder. So if you know of people that are not subscribed to the channel, please invite them to subscribe. We're constantly growing this channel, and there's been a lot of people that have just joined in the last couple of weeks, and we really appreciate that. Also, we hit another milestone this week. We hit 1.5 million views on YouTube. That is incredible, and it honestly blows our minds. We saw this last night when we were looking at different things that we hit 1.5 million views on YouTube, and that was an incredible milestone. So several milestones hit this week. We also hit the 250 video upload milestone. So 250 videos, 19,000 subscribers, 1.5 million views. It is all because of people like you. And I just have to say thank you to everyone. We've got one more super sticker coming in here before the show is ending. Tony Diaz coming in here with a super sticker for $3 saying bye. Tony, goodbye and have a great morning. Thank you very, very much for that. But as always, don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching today. Thank you so much for watching The Wake. And until next time, ciao for now.